Kiryu Kazuma.
Back in 2018, I made the bold claim that I loved Yakuza 0. And you know what? I still do. Probably more than Yakuza Kiwami. Don't get me wrong, I also love Kiwami, but compared to 0, it is lacking, which is a case of it being the first Yakuza game, but with a HD touch-up. Sega did point out that Kiwami means extreme, and they're not lying. If you've already played a Yakuza game, then you know how extreme things can be, and even though 90% of the game is completionist checklists, the thing that really sells them is the story. We start off with a dark rainy night, filled with thunder and lightning, and Kiryu holding a gun? The fuck is this shit? Then it quickly changes to a some time ago sort of thing, like as if you weren't meant to see that, but you saw it, so that's it, Kiryu's dead, GG. What's that? He was given a sentence of 10 years? Well, I guess once he gets out, his old buddy Nishiki would look out for him. Oh wait, he's the main bad guy? It might not be too big a surprise for people seeing as the trailer showed him as the main antagonist, and it's not like a sudden thing. It's not a case of, it'd be cool to have this happen and not explain it. They literally explain why Nishiki is like this, and why he has that hair. Not to mention a plot of finding a woman both Kiryu and Nishiki knew in the old days, and helping this girl called Haruka who's looking for her mother. She adds an interesting perspective, nothing deep or anything, more the player wondering what it'd be like if Kiryu was a father, and the safest answer is odd. If there's anything a Yakuza game does right, it's play itself like a crime drama. If you're already used to them, you can kinda guess what might happen next, but it's still super enjoyable. Just wish it didn't have a bad case of the Final Fantasy syndrome. By that I mean, starting a cutscene, finishing it, moving Kiryu out of a building, and then starting another cutscene which is even longer. Zero had this problem too, but I prefer these games for their story, because gameplay, well... It's another Yakuza game. For those who haven't played one, it's a third-person brawler where you play as Kazuma Kiryu with his 4 styles of combat: Brawler, Rush, Beast, and Dragon, as well as having side objectives and minigames to basically do nothing but waste time. That's the gist of things. I'll start off with the combat because it will be what you'll be spending most of your time doing anyway. As I said before, you have 4 styles, but there are only really 2 to care about. That's Brawler and Rush. Beast is too slow, so you get hit more often than you'd like, and Dragon, well, you get Metroid in this game. So, after the 10 years, Dragon Style has lost all of its skills, and you're left with like a 3-button combo, until you've beat the shit out of Majima enough times who randomly appears in places to unlock more Dragon skills. And even then, you're like used to Brawler and Rush, so why would you use Dragon or Beast? Because, you know, Beast is too slow, and with Dragon you've had like next to no practice, so going up against bosses with that is kind of suicidal really, or a waste of all your medicines. It's just not a good design where in order to get more of a skill, you have to just get lucky with finding a guy. The heat gauge has been given a little improvement since 0. You now have your regular heat gauge and a climax heat gauge, which allows Kiryu to use even more brutal heat attacks that can be used a lot earlier. The upgrade system seems to be about the same. You earn XP points after completing quests, sub-stories, and beating people into a pulp, but it's nothing new. Kiryu has a flip phone on him at all times, and it's mainly used as a plot device, so he'd get a call from someone and it'll progress the story, or sometimes you get texts and phone calls from random people and it turns out to be Majima this whole time, wanting a fight. This is why you don't give your number to random people. And yes, it does fix the random Majima spawning thing, but it's very rare to get a phone call from him. I'm really not a fan of the inventory system. It shows just how old Yakuza is. It's not game breaking or anything, but in order to use your health items in middle of combat, you'll have to open your inventory, then select the item, then hit confirm, then exit that screen, and go back to getting your ass handed to you. There are still a lot of minigames you can do, and only has one of the 2 I enjoyed from Yakuza 0, and that's karaoke, but not underground cat fights. The minigames are what you expect them to be: bowling, batting cages, that claw machine in the arcades that hates holding onto the plush you want to get cause go fuck yourself. Seeing as Kiwami and 0 are the only Yakuza games on PC at the moment, I will be drawing some comparisons on Kiwami's performance. First things first, this is not properly optimized. Going by what's shown on the Steam page for both games, Kiwami is the only one out of the 2 to have frame rate issues. It doesn't spike thankfully, but it does seem to have an issue with being at 60 FPS. 0 didn't have this issue, and my graphics card, while being old now, is still able to do 1080p 60 FPS no problem. So the only thing I can say is, it's definitely not optimized properly. Both Yakuza 0 and Kiwami have the same inventory system. I didn't talk about it on my 0 review, but that's because A, I didn't get surrounded and stun locked to lose half my health, and B, it's almost impossible to get close to death in 0. Kiwami saw B and thought, fuck it, let's implement A, so they'll be forced to use healing items. Yes, I know you can guard and evade, and I was doing that. It's just a shame you can't fucking cancel mid-animation so you're committed to an attack. There's no lock-on, so when an enemy decides to evade, which they do very often by the way, you're stuck with Kiryu punching thin air towards a wall and the enemy just hits you from behind. Zero had this as well, but Zero didn't have people evading like crazy. And don't even get me started on the last couple of boss fights. Fuck the second to last one with his god-wielding bastards. Now don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed the hell out of Yakuza Kiwami, but I only enjoyed the story, more importantly the pre-rendered cutscenes. The combat was samey for the whole game, the UI is dated by today's standards, and dealing with dudes who evade and stun you are annoying and not exactly what I classify as fun. So if you were looking to get a Yakuza game, I'd say get Zero. It's longer, you get to play as both Kiryu and Majima, and in my opinion more enjoyable.
If you enjoyed my review and would like to see more in the future, hit the subscribe button. Also like and comment, I'm always open to feedback on my reviews. You can also follow me on social media, links in the description down below.